Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited for today. We have amazing speakers today, and our very first special guest is Jeremy Streten. Welcome, Jeremy. Thank you so much for being today with me.
Thank you, Diana. It's a pleasure.
Jeremy is the founder and CEO at Business Legal Lifecycle. He's the author of the Amazon #1 best-selling book, The Business Legal Lifecycle. The company's aim is to provide access to legal advice for all small to medium-sized businesses around the world. Jeremy lives in Brisbane, Australia, a dad of 2 awesome kids, and loves to learn and help business owners achieve their goals. And today he's going to walk us through benefits of being a lifelong learner. Welcome, Jeremy, once again. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Diana. And I think that this is a really important topic for everyone to really understand. That being a lifelong learner is something that we need to instill in everyone around the world, really, because if you're not growing and if you're not learning, then you're really going behind the times. The world has become such a mess of information. They talk about the fact that when Ronald Reagan was president of America, there was so little information that was available that now at the palm of our hand in our phones, we have more information than he had as president of the United States. And because of that, there's so much information, there's so much great content, there's thousands of books, tens of thousands of books, there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts, there's so much information out there that you really have no excuse but to learn and to really grow yourself going forward. I myself make sure that I do 3 hours a day of some sort of learning. So whether that's listening to an audio book, reading a news magazine, listening to podcasts, doing interviews, running trainings, whatever it is, I think it's really, really important. And there's countless benefits of it. And the main one is growth and making sure that you're growing as a human being. I have, as Diana said in the intro, I have 2 awesome kids, and something that I really instill in them. They're 8 and 7 at the time of doing this in 2022. And one of the things they always say to me, "Oh, I don't want to learn. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do my homework." And I'm sure all parents go through that. But one of the things I always say to them is, you've got to be a learner. Learners are the ones who succeed. Everyone that you see that's successful out there in life has learned. And I got my 3 hours a day of learning that I do from Zig Ziglar, the gentleman who was one of the fathers of the sales movement in the States, or at least the education of sales. And I really find that to be a really good way of doing things. So there's a lot of benefits to being a lifelong learner. One is that growth. So you're constantly growing. And if you're not growing, then you're dying, as Tony Robbins says. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. The next thing is that being a lifelong learner helps you to be present in whatever you're doing. So often we have distractions all around us. We have distractions with our computers. If you've got notifications on, turn them off now. I hate notifications, except for when this Facebook Live comes up, of course. But I hate notifications, like text messages, phone calls, excuse me, all of those things. They're distractions because they take you away from really focusing on what you need to do. So one of the benefits I've found in being a lifelong learner is actually giving me focus on what I need to do and being present. And it's a funny one, Diana, because what I've found is that people don't think of that. They think of all the other benefits, but that presence is something that people just often don't even realize that they're doing. So I think it's really important to be present and to really continue to be doing that. Another benefit is around if you're a leader of any team. So whether you're a business owner, whether you're a leader of a family, whether you're a leader of a sporting team, of a group in a business, or whatever it is, you've got to be learning, because if you're not, then other people are probably going to learn things that you don't know about. So I see that learning helps you with all of the things that you need to do in your life. And so, Donna, what I've found over the years is that the people who learn, they contribute the most. Behind you, you've got a bunch of books, and I'm sure you're the same as me. Like, love to read, love to learn, and those are the people who end up leading, because they can talk about things that other people aren't aware of. And I think that one of the other areas that's often missed in learning is to be a well-rounded individual. You could just read some things, you could just listen to podcasts on business, but you need to learn other things. You need to know what else is going on in the world, the news and all those things. So there's lots of benefits to being a lifelong learner. I guess, is there any questions, Dana, around that?
I would just like to ask you, because you mentioned about the focus, and I am really curious about that, because I would say that nowadays we went into the extreme, actually, that there is too much information and it may become overwhelmed because there is so much we don't know anymore what to focus on. And this is what I noticed also when I'm doing webinars, when I'm doing trainings. I am all the time trying to simplify, because I feel like people cannot get that much information anymore. There is so much. And even as a business owner, marketing, sales, and you are in the legal part, and that's also on top, especially for someone who has no idea. So the question would be, how do you focus? How do you find that focus to really just go into what you need on the moment?
So the first thing I'd say is get rid of all your distractions as much as you can. So get rid of, and that's not just electronic distractions, that's the distractions around you. Make sure that you really set aside the time to get focused. So one of the things that we do, I work for a coaching business, and one of the things that we do is when we set people tasks for a week, we get them to actually put it in their diary when they're going to do that work, because people are often dictated to by what's in their diary. And if it's not in their diary, on their to-do lists or on their Kanban board or whatever, it doesn't get done, and something else comes into the space. So it's around controlling your time. And this is something I'm very passionate about. With my diary, my business manager is allowed to put things in my diary. She's the only person other than myself who can put things. No one else can put my things in my diary, because my time is important and I need to know what I need to do. So that's the second way of getting focus. And the other way is around that you're surrounding yourself with people that are similarly minded to you. Today, it's Friday evening here in Australia where I am, and earlier today I ran a networking lunch for a mastermind that I'm part of, and everyone was focused on that at that group, because they were with a group of 10 like-minded business owners who were interesting and were focused on helping them with what they need to do in their business. So they're the three main ways that I find it's around the get rid of your notifications, stop things from popping up, except for this show. The second one is really being almost obsessive over controlling your time. There's a great saying, I can't remember who said it, but if you don't control your time, the world will control your time, and you'll constantly have people looking at things. That's why I don't even check my emails. My team check my emails. And the third one is really around that, surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, surrounding yourself with people who are in it for the same reasons that you are, and you'll get that focus going forward. And that helps you then, Diana, become that learner, because you're focused and you're doing those things. You will learn, and you'll actually retain the information more. When you don't do that, that's when things kind of come and go from your mind, and you don't actually learn anything, because you get too muddled up in what you're doing.
I love that. Thank you for clarifying that. I don't know if you have any other tips before I ask more questions. I have many questions generally to ask.
That's right.
So do you have other tips, or should I ask you the questions?
Yeah, I think probably the only other tip is just, don't beat yourself up if you can't do things and you can't focus. It becomes a learning process. There's a great book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about you got to build habits, good habits of being focused and learning, and he does it for everything. And one of the things that I really like about what he does is that he says, if you try and build a habit and you skip something, so say that you want to read an hour a day, or you want to make sure that you write an hour a day, or you want to do something for an hour a day. If you do it one day and then you miss the next day, just don't miss it twice in a row. Make sure that you do it. You pick it up again the next time, because that's how habits are formed. And there's lots of science and lots of I was going to say nonsense because it really is, about the time it takes, the average time it takes people to learn a habit. And that, some people say it takes 6 days. Some people say it takes 66 days. That's why I say it's nonsense, because there's too big a space there. And what we find is that if people can focus and really get in there and do their work, then that, they can build those habits. And that's how you build the habit of being a focused and a lifelong learner.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing that with us. I would like to ask you about your business, because you mentioned something about coaching. At the same time, I read in your bio that you are also in the legal space. And from my experience, I am in the finance world and also coaching. I know that sometimes it is difficult to combine kind of two separate worlds. How does that work for you? And how did you manage to combine the two, the legal aspects with coaching and with business?
Yeah, so I actually run 3 different businesses. One is I am a co-owner of a law firm here in Brisbane. The second one is I have a software as a service startup business called the Business Legal Lifecycle, which is what we referenced in there, which is all about helping business owners to understand their legal risks in an easy to understand way. And then I also am a coach and run and work with a coaching business to run masterminds and things like that. The only way that I can do that is by being really, really deliberate with my time. And I'm very, very stringent with the time that I do things on. I don't practice the law much at all anymore. I have stepped away from that. For any lawyers that might be watching, that's often a lifelong dream of lawyers. And I can tell you it's great to get out and not actually be the lawyer in the business doing the work. So that's one way that I've said that. I actually do some work, but not a lot. But I'm just very, very deliberate with my time, and my days are very much structured around what I'm doing. So Monday is a day when I'll work on my businesses. So I sit down with my business manager and we spend all day Monday working on businesses. Tuesdays, I work for the coaching business and run my masterminds, and I do some other stuff with them. That's all day Tuesday. Wednesday is in the law firm. And I spend my day working what I need to do in the law firm. And then Thursday is kind of a mishmash of the 3 of them. And then Friday is meetings day. So I go out and have meetings. So the way that I've found that to work is around just being really deliberate with what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. I have a very strict default diary that I make sure that I manage and I follow. And that means that I get the stuff done. The other tip I'll give you is Kanban. So if you've ever used the Kanban system, that was, I think it was invented by Toyota in Japan and popularized by Jim Benson. It's basically you have tasks and you move them across as you do the work. And I found that to be a really powerful way of getting my work done and really making sure I can manage all 3 businesses.
Wow, this is very impressive, and I would even say scary to a certain extent. And from what you're saying, this means that you are very disciplined and very structured. And I know that myself, I worked very hard to become more disciplined in certain areas and to get organized in terms of tasks and what I have to do, because I was having the tendency of liking to jump from one thing to another, because I was more in the creative space. And I know that this scares many people when it comes to putting more structure, because it's more firm, it's more contained, so to speak. What would you say about that? How can we change our mindset around that to actually see the benefit of being organized and being structured?
And for some people, it doesn't actually work. I'm going to throw that out there. So some people, and I work with some of these people who just don't have that structure. That structure doesn't work for them. So I'd say that for some people that doesn't work, and that's okay if it doesn't work for them. What I would say though, for people who are looking to do that, it's around building that habit. It's around being deliberate with your time. It's about building up those habits and making sure that you're getting the things done. The other thing that sometimes this can sound a bit flippant, but I think it's really crucial for anything that you're trying to do. You've got to have a vision for what you're doing, Diana. So if you know where you're going, I have a very clear mission of what I want to build. I want to build multiple streams of income. I know exactly what those streams are. I know exactly the money that I want to make from them, and I know the businesses that I want to have built, right? Because I know that vision, all my decisions are filtered through that decision. through that goal, I should say, to achieve that goal. And I make sure that I do everything that I need to do to make that goal. And my team are very much aligned to that as well. And the third thing that I would say around that is change the mindset to becoming what we call a whoer. So when you've got a new task or a new business, think about who is the person who can do that work. Are you the right person to do it? Because most of the time it won't be you. If it's outside your specialty, most of the time you would be better off leveraging someone else's time to do that work. So they're probably the three main ones, but the big one for me is who else can do the work. And just earlier, just before this call, I was talking to a client of mine who he installs pub equipment to set up pubs around Australia. And one of his clients wants him to then go in and run the pub. And I said, do you know how to run a pub? His answer was, no, of course I don't know how to run a pub. I've never run a pub. That's a stupid question. I said, exactly. So find someone who can run the pub so that you're not doing it because you're already busy. Add on running another business to that, and you'll never have time to even breathe. So I found that to be a really powerful message that really works well to help people get organized. And also, you talked about or asked around mindset. It's really about doing those things that will change the mindset. It'll flick the mindset and be you'll grow to being someone who is a manager rather than just a doer. If that's what you want to do, and it doesn't work for everyone, but if that is what you want to do, then that's where you go with it.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeremy. And I fully agree with you. And I know that it took me a long time to incorporate it in my life, and I'm still struggling sometimes. I am not fully aligned sometimes with all this structure, especially the morning routine. I learned it in many trainings that I have to do it. If I want to I don't know, to get to a certain level, I have to do it because this is what all the successful people are doing. And it took me a long time to understand it, to accept it, and then to implement it. And I am doing it because I know is exactly what you mentioned. I know where I want to go. And I know that I need this structure in order to get there. If not, I am getting in all the places at once. But I would like to ask you, do you think this is one of the reasons why businesses, especially coaching businesses, are failing nowadays? Because according to statistics, we have around 82% of coaching businesses failing, especially in the first 2 years. Do you think this could be a reason?
What's the reason? Sorry,
that coaching businesses don't manage to get structure, to get the cash flow, to get sales into their business, and then they are failing. I know there are several reasons. One of the reasons because they are not on the market, they are not present, they are not omnipresent on social media. But I believe that this could also be a reason. What would you say?
Yes, thank you, Diana. Sorry, I misunderstood. So yeah, absolutely. I think it is definitely a reason. I think that how you show up and you do some things is how you do everything. And if you're a coach, people are engaging with you to help them build those habits and to hold them accountable to doing things. And so often we see people and coaches who don't do it for themselves. So, and then I think it goes in a perpetual loop, Diana. I think that they don't do it for themselves, but they're telling people to do it. So then they feel like they're being an imposter by telling their client they need to do it, even if that it's not conscious, it's subconscious. Oh, I'm an imposter because I'm not doing what I'm telling my client to do. And so then that comes across in the coaching calls. One of the things that we always talk to our clients about is if you don't believe it, you're going to show that to your client. You may not intend to, you may go in with every single intention of showing up and delivering what you want to deliver in the best possible way. But if you don't believe it, the other people will know it. And again, I'll reference Zig Ziglar again. I'm a big fan of his book, Secrets is Closing the Sale. In that example, he talks about when he was a cookware salesman, and one of his fellow cookware salesmen just couldn't sell any cookware, and he came to Zig and said, "Why? Can you help me?" And he identified it straight away. He didn't own a set of the cookware that he was selling. He didn't believe in it. And so I think that you're absolutely right, Diana, that this is a problem in the coaching space where people don't do what they're telling other people to do. So then that then sabotages their business and goes on this downward spiral that really means that they fail. And yeah, there's all those other reasons, there's all the other excuses about not being able to get clients and all the other information out there. But at the end of the day, you've got to show up and perform at your best. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep the clients. And that's it's really sad when that happens, but you do see it a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Walk the talk, right? I love that.
Yeah.
And I know that in my business, I was doing so many things at the beginning and really trying everything I could, and nothing was working. And at some point, I realized that it's not about what I am doing. It's not about the tasks, the processes. It's really what I believe about what I am doing. And exactly what you mentioned, the energy that I'm emanating once I get into that task. And I will just give you a very quick example. This morning, I woke up and I was really not feeling well. And at some point I thought, it was just a thought. I was like, I feel like shit. And then I was like, no, you don't feel like that. You feel extraordinary. You feel awesome. You feel energetic, all of that. I changed that thought because I knew that even for a moment, if I let it come into my head, this is how the day is going to go on. And even if I don't say it, people are going to feel it. So absolutely, I think it's just a matter of combining the tasks and the mindset and the structure. I am really in admiration of what you are doing. And I would like to close today's talk. I would like to thank you, first of all, very much for being today with me. And I would like to close by asking you, who are you serving and how can people contact you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, thanks, Diana. And thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And talking about this is something that I'm very passionate about. And so thank you for that opportunity. So if people are interested in seeing what we're doing, the main thing the main business that I want to help people, and we haven't really talked about it too much, is the business legal lifecycle. So that's about helping business owners identify their legal risks. And we've done that. I'm based in Australia. I did that in Australia. I then worked out that the law is very similar in a lot of countries. So at a broad level and telling you what you need to do. So I've expanded that to the UK and to the US. And so we have a bunch of tools, a bunch of resources on our website. And I've created a page for the listeners. If they want to find out more about that, they can go to businesslegallifecycle.com/mydesign. And it will have some information there, a free gift for them to learn more about their business and their legal risks. And that's really who we're looking at. We're looking at business owners who are looking at ways to reduce their risks, because what we've found with legal advice, Diana, is that people are reactive. So when something goes wrong, they come to a lawyer, and it ends up costing them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so we want to help them to be proactive and really find out what those risks are before they arise. So if anyone's interested in that, go to businesslegallifecycle.com/mydesign, and I'd love for them to check out what we've got there. And if they're interested, they can take our assessment and see what their legal risks are.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I love that because I fully agree with you. And I personally am scared of everything that's legal. I am fully compliant with everything and always trying to understand, but it's really difficult to know everything that you need to do. And as you mentioned, I just receive sometimes notification, you should have this, you should have that. And I'm like, okay, like, how do I handle everything? And it helps. It helps so much to have someone who just guides you without worrying about, do I do it well? Is this the right thing? So thank you so much for sharing that with us. All of you who are out there listening to us, contact Jeremy, because the legal, I would say, is one of the pillars of our businesses. Thank you so much once again, Jeremy, for being today with me.
Thank you, Diana.